Welcome everybody to another edition of the Hurry. I'm your host Adam. Let's get into this. So I need an axe to grind a little bit. People in these spaces that you go on Twitter, they be talking, and if they don't like your idea, they might cut you off or say it's a dumb idea or anything like that. Was bringing up Daniel Jones and saying how you have to measure the prospects against Daniel Jones. You can't measure them on the 5-year plan. You have to say, and they're like, oh, that's a bad idea. You got to win a Super Bowl and all this stuff. No, it's a bad idea because it came out of my mouth and not yours. Because the irony of it all is when I say something and people don't listen, because this is what happens. I get into a rant mode and people don't want to listen to rant. They're like, oh, this guy's all he is angry, and you don't listen to it. And when you actually listen to what I say, people then say what I say in a different tone or a different way or add a couple words or adjectives, and it's the same shit. It's the same shit. But because it came out of somebody else's mouth, it's better. So I had to get that off my chest. The point is this, is that the Giants have a problem. And the reason why I'm so angry at not only this team, but the fan base in general, is that the fan base is fighting about the dumbest shit, the quarterback position. We know the quarterback position is mucho important. You know why? Because if you go back to 2004, which people tend to forget, Ernie Accorsi, go read the book to GM. It'll explain about everything I'm about to tell you right now. Is they held the quarterback position in the highest regard. Why do you think Ernie Accorsi moved heaven and earth to go get Eli Manning and not draft Robert Gallery? Because the quarterback position matters. It's what separates the good teams from the bad teams and the good teams from the great teams. Okay? Now, we can say when or where you can get a quarterback. You know, anyone, you can go in the third round. No, why? Why would you want to do that? It makes no sense to me to go backwards and hope to get a guy that's not even rated as high as the guys in front of him. So you want to wait to get that? Like, why would I wait to do that? That should not be plan A. That should not be part of the plan. If you're going out to buy an item, right? Do you want the newest item? Or do you want like, oh, don't worry, I'll wait for the second gen item of that. Or you know, a lesser item, you know? No, you want that item. You waited all the time. You waited in line to get that item. You have a chance to finally figure out to get that hot commodity, and you're going to punt it away because of what? You want to quote-unquote Malik Neighbors, who gets the ball 10 times a game, when the guy that is throwing the ball touches the ball over 50 times a game? Like, what are we doing here? And in the GM, that's what he said. He said, I'm going to get the guy that sets my franchise apart from everybody else. Because he had a chance to draft John Elway. The owner didn't want to draft John Elway. They drafted somebody else, and he walked away because he wanted John Elway. So he said, that's not going to happen to me again. Eli Manning can do whatever he wants. I'm drafting that guy. Find a way to get him on my team because I think it's going to make our team better. Mind you, they had Kerry Collins on the team. And they had a disaster every year. And ever since they had Eli Manning, they rarely picked in the top 10. There were times. The other time they picked that high in the draft was in 2017 when the wheels fell off the bus and they had a chance to pick a quarterback. They didn't. And everyone's on to talk about, oh, quarterback hell, quarterback hell. We're in quarterback hell right now. And the thing is, the CBA has been collectively bargained for the NFL to get out of these contracts a lot earlier. So why don't I take a swing at a quarterback? Because it's not going to cost me much. He's on a small token salary up until year 5. At year 5, his salary accelerates to like 20-something million. Okay. Other than that, it's pennies on the dollar. And if he stinks, you kick him out and you move on to the next quarterback. I don't understand what this process is. People get so caught up and hung on to these words and these things. We can't do this. We can't do that. This will set us back. It's as if they understand what's going on when they really don't. And they don't know how to articulate it because they want to run it back. Like, drafting a receiver to me is not priority number one. Priority number one is fixing the quarterback position. That is priority number one. And if you have a chance to get one of these guys, and one of the top 6 guys, Joel Klatt made a video about the top 6 guys he take in the first round. If they all have first round grades at the end of this process, when you get up to draft time, you take one and you run away. You run to the podium. If that's Michael Penix Jr., you don't care about what the pundits say, what your fan base says. If you think this guy's going to win a Lombardi for you, or at the end of the day, upgrade your position, that's what you do. And people keep throwing out these asinine ideas about, well, they're going to keep their job. I'll tell you right now, a drafted quarterback picked in the top 10 saves your ass. That's what it does. It does. It didn't save the ass of Pat Shermer. That's because he got stabbed in the back by his GM. But if your GM and coach are running the show, and that's what John Mara is saying right now, he's allowing them to run the show, well, guess what? there's no fireable offense happening. What will be fireable is if you tell me you're going to fix this franchise, you run it back with Daniel Jones, he ends up getting hurt, you end up with 6 wins, and there's nobody behind you, that's what's going to get you fired. And now I don't want to hear about Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler is an afterthought until the draft happens. If you can't find a way, or everyone says, oh, the Giants aren't going to fall in love with these guys. Giants need to fall in love with 6 guys. That's what they need to do. They need to say, all 6 of these guys are good. All 6 of these guys are franchise movers. All 6 of these guys I can work with, especially if a guy like Brian Daboll. You know, people want preferences. Like, this is fucking Baskin Robbins. Ooh, I want chocolate. I want vanilla. No, motherfucker, you want ice cream. That's why you walked into the parlor in the first place. Picking a flavor is, no offense, the cherry on top. That's the prize. But you want ice cream. And the point is, we want a quarterback. I don't give a fuck if it's chocolate, vanilla, whatever it is. Give me the guy that you think is going to help this franchise. And I believe that Brian Daboll is a guy that can make this quarterback, whomever he may be, 1 through 6, and you all know who they are, better than they are. Look what he did with Daniel Jones in 1 season. Look what he did with Tommy DeVito in 3 games. Look what he did with Tyrod Taylor's career. We need to get a guy that's better than what we got already, and a guy that we believe that we can develop into better. And I hate to use the word develop, because essentially, you know, what we're seeing is, oh, Drake May is this, or J.J. McCarthy's that. It's not your business to worry about his weaknesses. It's the coach's business. And it's his job to find out how he can make these weaknesses into strengths and what this guy can do. What you need to do is articulate his points and worry about those things later. Because if you're a coach, that's what you're supposed to do. It's, you know, as fans, we sit here and everyone's like, oh, I take J.J. McCarthy. I don't want Drake May. This guy, that. Yeah, I like Drake May. He's my top quarterback. As a matter of fact, I think he's quarterback 1 in my book, because of the physical traits, the things that he brings to the table, the anticipatory throws, his arm talent, all the stuff that we talk about. If the Giants land J.J. McCarthy, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, they landed number 4 of 6. Like, who gives a shit? You know? All these rankings are arbitrary. The only ranking is number 1, and that's probably Caleb Williams. That's it. Everybody else from 2 to 6 is probably in the same tier. They have different strengths. That you know, you have Penix Jr. is a better pocket passer than all the quarterbacks, right? And has better arm talent than some of them. Pure raw ability. I think Mays has more raw ability than the highest ceiling is J.J. McCarthy, because I feel like we haven't even scratched the surface of that guy. Bo Nix, very well-run offense, played a lot of football, you know, is able to run an offense. I feel like all these guys are good fits for Brian Daboll. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the same thing with Daniel Jones. I wouldn't think Dwayne Haskins the same as for Pat Shurmur when they were drafting Daniel Jones. I believe here a lot of the quarterbacks do a lot of what Daboll is requiring to do in his offense, which is move out of the pocket, occasionally scramble, and get downfield, right? Do I have a preference? You know, I like a guy better than a guy here. But at this point, if there are 6 guys that people deem first-round grades, well, damn it, you need to get one of those 6. And you shouldn't worry about trading down, trading up, do it. If there's a guy there at 6 and you think he's a first-round grade, why wait and see if he's going to be there at number 39? Oh, no, by the way, 39 is 33 picks later than what we got. So now you have to trade up and hope that your guy is there and hope that there's a trade partner who's not going to screw you over. Everyone's talking about assets. They're cool with trading down to trade up. Well, guess what? You know who screwed themselves in the assets? Fucking Joe Schoen. If he had gotten rid of McKinney, Barkley, and a few of these other guys that are 1-year deals that were expiring, we would have the capital right now that everybody worries about to go up and get a quarterback without compromising our draft. He didn't do that. So now he has to figure out a way to go get a guy. Okay? And if they fall in love with Drake May, go up and get him. If they say, listen, we love Drake May, but the price is too steep, but we also love J.J. McCarthy, go get him. They need to get a quarterback, one of the top 6. Don't settle for Spencer Rattler. That should be your last-ditch effort. That should be like, hey, we missed the sale on quarterbacks, and we happen to go there, and this is left over in the bin. This is what was left. Don't take the guy that was left, right? And I don't want to hear about, oh, well, if you think Brian Daboll could develop a quarterback, then take him in the 2nd round or Joe Milton. No. Why would I want to do that? Why would I want to get him a lesser talented guy to develop just to prove a point? I want to give him a better talented guy because I know receivers come in all shapes and sizes across the board. And there's a better hit rate on a guy later in the 2nd round or even the 3rd round at receiver than there is at quarterback, especially when the talent pool in the surplus is a lot less supply for the quarterback position. There's only about 6 guys with 1st-round grades. there's about 17 guys at receiver. I don't know about you, but it's 11 more guys that you have a plethora to pick to get. And knowing that there's 17 guys, that's not including the 10, the 5 or 6 first rounder cornerbacks, the 5 or 6 first round D linemen, the 5 or 6 first round edge players. You can jumble those all up, right? And you add those up, that's going to add up to more than 30 picks. So you're talking about the top 100 guys. There's a lot more top 100 wide receivers that can play ball here. If you don't like a quarterback and you want to wait till the second round, well, you better hope that Michael Penix Jr. is there or Bo Nix. If those guys get picked and you're left with Spencer Rattler and those guys shine and Spencer Rattler is struggling, guess what? You're fired, the GM is fired, and Spencer Rattler is probably fired with Daniel Jones. So I'm just saying, for whenever you have a chance to pick a good player at a good position of need like the Giants have, you go and do it. And don't worry about the assets, because if you're willing to trade assets later in the draft to come up to the middle of the draft, which is probably going to be more than what you're going to trade to get to 4, to be honest with you, then do it. And not for nothing, a lot of these teams that everyone says is going to trade back, maybe they like Marvin Harrison and aren't going to trade back. So maybe the Giants will be in the catbird seat come 6 if a guy lands them. But by hook or by crook, I'm getting my guy. If I learned anything from Ernie Accorsi, go get your guy. Go make sure you get your guy. Build around that guy, and don't think, oh, well, I got Daniel Jones at 6, it's going to be quarterback hell. No, you're supposed to learn from those lessons. Those guys weren't here when Daniel Jones was drafted. They're here now. Okay, let's hope that they're smarter than that. This has been another edition of the Hurry Up. I'm sorry, I'm in a little bit of a mood. That's what happens when you listen to Twitter Spaces. People say some shit, and you just sometimes you just gotta vent it out here. But thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll be back soon. Thanks.